Words about books, Ben.
It's words about books, Nate.
It's weird not having a Dune book to talk about, but Thrawn is always there for us.
Hey, Star Wars was loosely inspired by, and by that I mean kind of a ripoff of, Dune.
Yeah, and then there was another like Dune series that was a ripoff of Star Wars. It's all
Full circle.
full circle. It's that snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. It's the cycle of content.
But yeah, we're back with more Thrawn. There is an entire third trilogy of Thrawn books.
We started this podcast with Thrawn. We'll end it with Thrawn. And if he doesn't come out with enough Thrawn and I'm not ready to end the podcast, we'll have to start writing Thrawn fan fiction.
Deal.
Chad Dingleton's Thrawn.
Because let's see. So we've got a whole other trilogy. And then we've already done I talked about the duology, and then there's the other two trilogies, and we did those. So
I hear there's a Thrawn deck in the Star Wars card game, so we could maybe read that to each other.
there you go. The Outbound Flight, I know that's Thrawn.
Yeah.
It's Thrawn and Darth Sidious before he was the Emperor.
Has he met? Is that an old one?
That's Legends.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
they're trying to
in the new canon, he didn't meet him until he was the Emperor.
I believe they also run into the original Sebaoth in that book, Ben. You remember him?
Yeah, because he was a clone and nobody knows how to say his name.
Sebaoth?
Like,
there's an extra U. Because Luke? Remember Luke?
Luke?
He's got an extra U, so you know he's a clone.
Mokivja. Mokivja makes an appearance.
Yeah. There was like a weird time skip right near the end of the book. And I felt like, oh, I have to go and read another book now. That was a book I did not read.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird if you haven't read the other ones. So let's jump into it. We're talking about Thrawn.
Thrawn Ascendency. Chaos Rising.
Yeah, this one gets a little confusing because it's Star Wars : Thrawn Ascendancy : Chaos Rising.
Yeah. It's the prequel Thrawn trilogy, but not the Legends Thrawn prequel, but the canon Thrawn prequel, which is a prequel to the Thrawn trilogy, which we already covered and which was released prior to this trilogy.
I also read it a little out of order, so...
Yeah, Ben read the second book, and then we both read the first book, and then I read the third book. That's how that happened.
Look, the point is you could really jump in anywhere with Thrawn. It kind of doesn't matter.
we also read and discussed Heir to the Empire twice, because the first episode was our first ever episode of this podcast, and it sounded like shit.
Oh, I did the math. I wrote a little blog post that's going to go out at the same time this does. And I figured in 5 years... counting your remixes, we have done 16 Thrawn episodes.
Yeah.
As of the day this comes out.
We did it. We did it.
We're averaging 3 Thrawns a year.
Let's see. And what did we do for Dune? I think 2 for God Emperor, 2 for Heretics. And then if you want to count those shitty fake Dunes, Dune is still 2 episodes ahead, I think. Not including, if you include the remixes, I think that's there's 20 Dunes, so Thrawn still has to catch up.
Yeah, I mean we did like 23 episodes on The Hobbit, so.
Well, Thrawn's got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. I don't know if all of these are based on Thrawn, but I know he's in at least 3 of those.
Well, okay, so what's our boy up to? This is back when he's in the Chiss Empire. I'm not going to tell you what a Chiss Empire is. If you don't know, you're either going to have to accept
They're blue skins,
that
as one of the guys in the book thinks. Like,
they
man,
they're
it's it definitely sounds a little racist, but like when you think it, it's like extra racist somehow.
well,
Like the way you think it, it's like, I don't like that. You're making me uncomfortable over here.
it's not a nice thing to think
Kiori.
about somebody because it's definitely intended to be a slur the way he thinks it. But the interesting thing about the Chiss, and I guess this is like, I'm not going to dive into the whole Legends versus
They're the
Disney canon
superior
thing.
race of people
I'm not
in the
gonna
chaos.
go into all of that, but I am gonna say just a little bit of like what the Chiss used to be versus what they are now. Um, like the
Are they
Empire.
totally different?
Well, the Empire is space Nazis, right?
Yeah.
Well, then the Chiss are like the Japanese Imperial Army.
Oh,
Like every
dear.
man, woman,
Oh
and
dear.
child is ready to die for the cause. Like the Chiss are regimented, like hardcore military
Yeah, because I have not
fascist.
read a book with the Chiss from Legends.
There's actually an
Thrawn. They didn't know what Thrawn was in any of the first three books, and then they knew he was a Chiss in the duology, but we never met his people. And he had a secret other empire out there that he was cheating on the original empire with.
there's
And
actually
then a clone of him drowns.
there's actually an interesting character. I forget his name in Legends, who is a human who lived among the Chiss.
Oh,
And
so it's like Eli Vanto for Legends.
yeah, except
or for canon.
Except this guy hangs out with the Jedi, like he's on the Republic side. But he's like that. He's very like military discipline, like warrior mindset. This is very Spartan, I guess. Maybe Spartan is a better word. I'm not sure. But
That does make them seem less like evil.
yeah, I guess. Depends on,
We're far enough removed from the Spartans we can just be like, yeah, it was a different time back then, you know?
everyone had slaves. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was going to farm your crops? You? No.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they did a little. They're humanizing the Chiss quite a bit in this. In fact, like they're still kind of a military society, but in this one, they're just like a very strict, rules based society. It's not especially military. Like they have a separation of like they have a civilian government that controls the military, which is not how I ever imagined the Chiss back in Legends.
No, not at all.
And the civilian government also is like a palace intrigue, backbiting world of parties and conversations.
Yeah, Thrawn needs to hurry up and conquer the Ascendency and become emperor.
But yeah, basically they're snooty, and the Chiss are racist.
Well, I mean, are they though?
Extremely.
What when you're the superior race of blue-skinned aliens?
The thing is, you're not.
But okay, let's say hypothetically you are the superior race of blue-skin, red-eyed aliens, right? And like everyone in your immediate vicinity is just so obviously inferior to
How
you,
so?
right? Because they're not you.
Yeah,
like they're over there not being you.
Yeah,
you're over there. You've got a glorious capital planet that may or may not have a lot of people on it, and you are just you've got an expansionary fleet, but you know that you're only going to use that expansionary fleet in defense because that's how you expand. You defensively expand.
Well,
you don't attack first, unlike all these other disgusting non-U's.
We don't call it the Department of War.
We used to.
I know.
Secretary of War.
But it's crazy. As we got more into war, we started calling it the Department of Defense. Proactive defense. Sometimes
proactive defense.
Sometimes we have to defend ourselves from you before you even know what you did.
Yeah, but the Chiss don't do that because of their inherent superiority, Ben.
Their strict like Starfleet non-interference policy or whatever. It's weird that they don't, right?
It was weird. It was
Yeah.
actually infuriating. I'm like, come on, get in there, start conquering.
Why are you
shit.
building all these fucking bombs if you're not going to fire them? I don't understand.
You've got all these ships.
Well, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, you have a huge military. Like, half your society is the military, and you don't fight people?
That's because they're inherently superior to us, Ben.
So
they are so far beyond us, we can't even think to grasp their motives, Ben.
The interesting thing about Thrawn in this, it's a new side of Thrawn we haven't seen. We're used to Thrawn being cool, calm, collected, in charge of every room he walks into, awesome strategist, military guy. But it turns out we're just used to seeing Thrawn in his element. Where we haven't seen Thrawn before
is in the bedroom. Chad Dingleton is going to get Thrawn.
Okay, I gotta ask you this: Is Thrawn with that lady? What's her name?
Arlani.
Yeah.
No, they're just really good friends, Ben.
They're just really good friends who wrestle sometimes and then go up to her room for unspecified activities and then come back and wrestle some more.
Yeah.
Did they hook up in this book? It's not explicit. You can't, there's no real answer, but like, I feel like they hooked up.
And later on, Thrawn will give her a child named Eli Vanto from the Empire.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the first child he unloaded on her. I'm gonna need you to rename. I'm gonna need you to tell me the characters' names who aren't Thrawn because it's been a couple books since I read this. Cherry, yeah.
No, it's Cheery.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, we'll say Cheery.
That is how I listened to the audio.
I didn't. I read it, and
so when I went back and looked at like, what happened in that chapter again? I'm like, who the fuck are all these people?
I read it, but I've read a couple books since. We're recording this one a little.
Oh yeah! By the time this episode comes out, well, the second episode of this Thrawn series, I will have gone to the Heart of the Beast to Disney.
Oh,
maybe I'll see Thrawn there.
Land or world?
Land.
Oh man, I'd go world.
I don't want to go to Florida.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I wonder if that's cutting into their parks. You know, I actually, unironically, my work wanted us to go to Florida, and some of the people who, let's just say, don't look like me, they were not comfortable going to Florida.
I don't blame them.
Because of some laws Florida passed recently that apparently Florida can detain anyone getting off a plane without cause if they suspect, for whatever reason, that you...
I think they can also take your kids away if either if the kid wants to be trans or if you're trans. I can't... I don't know which one. I just know just avoid it.
And now I finally that got kind of real for some people is no, we're not going to get off a plane in Florida. What a fun time to be alive.
Don't worry. The House of Representatives are going to have a vote to impeach Trump, and I'm sure it'll go over just as well as it did the last two times, except they don't even have the votes to win.
I was going to say, I'd settle for them holding a vote to pass a law at this point.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching a series on like Roman politics towards the end of the Republic, and like there's a series of like strongmen who just take over, and the Senate is too afraid to do anything about them, so they just rubber stamp everything.
Do you ever feel?
Imagine? Can you imagine being in such a lame society that your Senate is just completely worthless and rubber stamps everything for a deranged madman who has all the power? Look, can you imagine? That is hilarious.
Look, man, I don't want to be I hate how called out I was by this, but do you remember that whole trend of like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? And it's like, yeah, all the fucking time. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know, like, I don't talk about it because I know it's weird, but yeah, all the fucking time I think about the Roman Empire. At least 3 times a day I think about the Roman Empire. I'm sorry, okay? It was a big empire. It influenced a lot of stuff. It comes up. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a reason why we focus on Rome more than any other empire. It's not like, I mean, it was a very long-lived empire, but also it's like the birth nation of all of our modern nations, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we really should have focused on where they went wrong, though.
Yeah, I
It
remember.
didn't occur to the founding fathers that people like Congress would ever just willingly not want to be important.
Yeah,
It didn't occur to the
yeah.
founding
Can you
fathers that
imagine?
politicians would just want to be daddied by by a big strong.
Big.
Is he strong? Is that what we're calling him? He's tall, by a tall man. They wanted to be daddied by a tall man.
Remember when George Washington was like, "Hey, political parties will lead to our downfall." Anyway, I'm gonna retire now. Bye. And he walked out the door. He closed it, and he never came back.
Smart man.
And everyone was like, "Oh wow, we should probably only have 2 term limits on the president. Let's not get crazy with like congressmen."
Yeah, no.
And it turns out the only reason we had term limits is because like George Washington just didn't want to fucking do it anymore. He was tired of being in charge of everything.
Yeah, he got sick of winning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God, that must suck. You know who else gets sick of winning? Thrawn, Ben.
I've heard that.
I would vote Thrawn into power real quick.
The interesting thing about Thrawn in this one, I think
He doesn't even know about politics. That's
I
his
started
weakness.
making this point, yeah, and then we wandered off, talked about Rome for a while, as you do.
As you do.
But yeah,
That's
so
a normal thing that people do.
it is. It's not weird, okay? Fuck you guys. The Roman Empire is my Roman Empire, you bastards. No. Thrawn, they're trying to humanize him because he has this weakness. He's not good at social situations. He's not good at reading people's like selfish intent. He doesn't understand why people don't just always do the best thing, the most logical thing, and that often gets him in trouble. It's certainly not because they want to make him seem like you're a maverick, Thrawn. Get into my office and get a browbeating, and then but God damn it, I love you, Thrawn.
Turn in your badge and your gun.
Turn in your badge and your spaceship, Thrawn. But no, fortunately, he has Arlani to bail him out. She's a little more politically savvy, a little more well connected.
Or as she's named in the past, Ziara.
I do actually like what they do with the names, which I'm 90% sure he never intended. I'm 90% sure Timothy Zahn just likes throwing apostrophes in random places. But somehow he finally, after all these decades, has brought it around into something that's not stupid.
My Thrawn Naruto.
It's like the first section of your name is the family name, and the middle section of your name is your personal name, and then like the last section of your name is like your rank or something.
I have no idea where Naruto comes in.
Because he's not Naruto at first.
No, he's not even Meath. He's some other family, and then they're like, "You're." At the beginning of his memories, he's accepted into the Myth family.
Yeah, and then their short name is a shortening. It's a combination of all 3 names: the last part of the first name, the middle name, and then the first part of the last name. I like that. I'm gonna give him use of language points for that because.
So was he like Ha before?
No,
I
guess he would have been Ron.
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 What's up, Ron?
Yeah, he could have been Ron.
He doesn't have that strong Ron energy, though, which is to say,
He's not chill enough to be a Ron. He's too high
exactly.
strung to be a Ron. He's a Thrawn.
My granddad was a Ron.
The one that burned their house down, or the one
Yeah.
you gotta be pretty
Yeah.
chill to burn your own house down. You
I guess
you gotta
be
not
pretty
worry.
chilled and not clean.
You gotta not
the-
worry
the
about a lot of
chimney.
stuff to burn your own house down.
So, just Ascendency, Ben. 3 large warshops randomly attack Chila, as they called it.
Oh, thank God, because I was calling it
Chilla.
I was calling it Scylla.
Chilla. Thrilla Killa. Ron's chilling on Chilla. So 3 warships attack.
They attack the Wu-Tang Clan.
And then they are effortlessly annihilated. And it's like, why would anyone send just 3 warships against the entire planet? And also, why were these warships such shit? We must find out. Either we need to increase our security and, like, lock everything down, or
tells me
preemptive peace negotiations using bullets.
My gut tells me we need to increase military spending.
That, you know what? I'm with you. Let's just raise taxes on the poor, and let's get that bankrolled.
I would have gone in completely the wrong direction, by the way, if I were the people investigating this, because that's what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, oh, somebody wants to increase the military budget. Cui bono, follow the money. Like, let's find who stands to benefit here. But no, actually, it was an alien trying to distract us from something we never would have known to look for if they hadn't tried to distract us.
Yeah.
The hubris.
You don't understand that. I was like, wait, you were distracting them from this thing that you didn't even know about? Okay.
Well, I think the logic is that they might have had a ship in that area if all the ships hadn't been called back to defend the homeworld from a possible second attack.
My God. That's brilliant.
He's not a great strategist, the enemy. Which is... I guess he's not really supposed to be a match for Thrawn, realistically, because at the end there's an ominous voice that's like, that guy was a jackass, we're the real enemy.
All right, well, you know who we need to investigate this? Sherlock Thrawn. Get him back. Also give him a ship, preferably the ship he had before, so we don't have to learn another ship. And let's get him into action.
Take the guy who currently has the ship, make him his assistant. That always works out well. Weirdly, it does, though. He's a cool guy. He's really cool about being demoted and having his ship taken away. I thought that was weird and refreshing. I don't know.
Yeah, he has a few moments where he's like, if Thrawn died, I get the ship. You know what? I'm not going to think about that.
No,
I got a job to do.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you're a real bro, I guess. Good for you, man. I'm watching you. I don't trust you. Cui bono. Follow the money. You know who gave us Cui bono? Rome.
All right. So, we've got to find who attacked us. And also in the past, Thrawn is a myth now. And he sucks at politics.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of great families. There's an aristocracy. Thrawn's in it.
The aristocra.
Yeah.
There's 9 great families.
Yeah, the aristocra.
Of which the Grisk have infiltrated one. As we learn in one of the previous trilogies. Maybe it was in the book that you didn't read. I don't know.
I don't know a lot about the Grisk.
They're the ones in charge of this entire thing, Ben.
How deep does it go?
It's a Grisk all the way down.
So they're like the lizard people of...
Except they don't have, like... shape-shifting powers or anything. But yes, they're the Illuminati of like the galaxy, but only this part of the galaxy, which is called the Chaos. Because I guess a bunch of shit went supernova back in the day and completely ruined all the hyperspace lanes.
Yeah, there was a chain of supernovas across an entire like quadrant of the galaxy.
And that's why we have never run into them before. It was, like you said, it was really smart of the Star Wars writers to have only um, explored like half the galaxy, and the rest is completely unknown.
Yeah, the
And
unexplored regions.
even that has like pockets of like, well, we've never been there before.
Yeah, it makes it seem like a big place.
Yeah, you can just keep adding shit.
Yeah, because it's like you could have like trillions and trillions and trillions of sentient beings and still only have explored like one arm of a galaxy. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's
There's
pretty
a
great.
lot of stuff out
Solid
there.
plan.
But again, habitable, especially in a galaxy where habitable planets are so common, you can just
Blow 'em up
destroy five at
casually.
a time to prove a point. If
you can
that
you can fire a laser at the speed of light and like it'll get there eventually.
That's the warning shot. That's what I loved. It's like, this is the y'all better surrender. We just killed 5 habitable planets.
And then in the finale, they make a fleet of Star Destroyers with Death Star lasers.
They're so goddamn stupid. I don't know what to say.
Bleeding money.
I don't
like. How did you construct this?
With the Force, right? I think that was a thing.
And so instead of just like building your own like planets and shit and like people, you built Star Destroyers that blow up.
I have a brand.
and there was a cavalry charge. Oh god, it's all coming back.
I have a brand, man. People need to know it's me. People need to know I'm back. If they see a bunch of Star Destroyers with Death Star lasers, they're gonna know Darth Sidious is back.
Somehow.
And like you said, that's good writing. You leave it vague. Somehow he returned.
Oh my god. So yeah, Thrawn though.
Yeah.
He gets the Spring Hawk. And then there is a lady. Theala? God damn it. Where did I write her name?
Wasn't it like Thalia or something?
I think they said Theala.
I'm fine with Theala.
So she was once a Skywalker, which the book does point out, like, oh, that's an interesting coincidence. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Skywalkers use third sight, which I assume is some version of the Force.
Yeah, he talks about that in the
only young girls
trilogy.
Seem to have, and this isn't like a weird sex thing. This is a real thing. Okay, this isn't some weird, gross thing to separate young girls from their families and like groom them. This like they can actually use the Force to like
Poltergeist
navigate. Rules. There you go. But when you hit age 14, or maybe even a little before, I assume when you go through puberty, maybe you lose your connection to the Force.
I'm guessing. I'm going to give Timothy Zahn the benefit of the doubt here and say, I'm guessing it's something to do about the transition from childhood to adulthood, not necessarily physically, but like mentally. Like the idea that like
they lose their
believe in magic more. Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh.
I'm gonna let's just,
you know where you could get your third sight back? Disneyland. Buy season tickets.
I
sponsor us, Disney.
Disneyland. Even if I had a child, no. We could go many places. We can go to the beach. We can go to the mountains. We can go.
But do any of those have Goofy's Sky School, Ben?
No. Yeah, and they also. I'm not even gonna stand in one of those lines. That's just my personal hell.
That's why you get the VIP thing. You go to the front of the line.
Yeah, we don't have enough patrons for that.
Well,
Send
sponsor us,
send me
Disney.
to the VIP line. Don't sponsor. I don't want Disney's fucking money. I discovered my integrity.
I didn't. Disney. If you want to slip me some money on the down low,
You're gonna need it.
goddamn right I am. So, all right. So she, former Skywalker, wants to get on board to see Thrawn again. Because when she lost her third sight, Thrawn was there to be like, "Don't worry, your life isn't over. Life is worth living. Please don't jump." No, not that last part. But he was like, "You can be whatever you want."
We're actually going to need you to jump to hyperspace. So do jump, but also everything's fine.
And so she's like, "I need to see Thrawn again." And so she is supposed to spy on him for a member of the Myth family who's kind of an asshole and wants to ruin Thrawn's career because he thinks Thrawn is going to lead them all to ruin with his half-baked schemes of let's not sit back and wait for the war to come to us.
Okay.
Let's bring the war to them.
In fair,
playa.
You're never going to hear me say this again. In fairness to this politician, Thrawn's plans do lead to him working for Space Hitler.
Yeah, but...
And I'm still very unclear as to how that benefits anyone.
Because we need a strong central government with big fleets, and eventually evil Space Wizard is not going to be around anymore, and as a Grand Admiral, Thrawn can help select the next evil Space Wizard replacement, which will probably be Darth Vader. So it's not exactly
but it's okay because
like
they're also
move.
friends.
Yeah,
and that's my
Darth Vader seems like a cool guy.
No,
okay?
He doesn't.
When you're not on the receiving end of him choking you and breaking your neck.
Look, I loved it when he was fighting crime with Thrawn. And I would 100% watch a Disney Plus show where they're just street cops and they have to like beat up people selling death sticks. That'd be awesome. But in fairness to the politician, this guy is going to ally himself with and do his damnedest to help an evil space wizard. Question mark profit. I don't know. I still don't know what the end game is there.
Well, as I told you, we will never get to see the end of the Grisk War. So I'm just guessing that nothing's ever going to happen. So, whoopsies.
Are they really? I thought Ashoka got canceled.
Yeah, that's the problem. Thrawn came back in the series finale. And it got canceled, and he was like, "I'm gonna go off and do something now," and now it's canceled.
So can he just resume writing?
It's been 4 years, Ben.
Yeah, so he could resume writing. It's not coming back.
Well, first of all, we don't know that. I mean, Rey is definitely maybe going to come around someday, but also, and who is she going to fight? Exactly. Thrawn for like 2 episodes, okay?
But he's a good guy, kind of. What?
Yeah, he is a good guy, except in Rebels, I think he's just an evil murder man.
Is that still canon?
Yeah, Rebels is still canon.
Huh.
That's why Thrawn was teleported away by an intergalactic jellyfish or something. I don't know what happened, but I think that's what happened. That's why he wasn't around during the Star Wars movies, and not because he didn't exist in George Lucas's mind in the 70s and 80s.
It's probably better he wasn't around. I mean, he could have just been, like, in the books he was around, he was just somewhere else.
Yeah, and his second in command shits all over. Like, man, if Thrawn had been in charge of the Battle of Endor, we would have won, like, hands down. But instead, we had an evil space wizard and his evil cyborg wizard doing stupid shit and leaving us open to attack, and that's why we lost.
I was trying to convince a young man to let me raise him.
And kill his father. Kill your dad in front of me, and then we'll go out for pizza.
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine if the Emperor comes back and says that? I was just trying to get a young man to kill his dad and join me.
You don't know how important it is to have another Dark Jedi. Okay. I killed all of the rest of them.
Except for all those ones I didn't.
Bad planning on my part.
So anyway, yeah, this lady is going to she's going to spy on Thrawn and get close to him.
This is going to be one of those episodes where it's like,
that's okay.
You're not really here for the book.
You should be here for the
you're
not the book. You're here for the Thrawn.
You're here for
all the Thrawn.
It's a celebration of Thrawn.
Yeah. Yeah, and Thrawn's second in command, who was once the captain of the Springhawk, is Samacro. And Samacro is a cool dude because his second in command is like, hey, I hear that bullshitter Thrawn is coming back. And Samacro's like, oh, I bet you're going to say we should lodge a formal complaint and then drag our feet on any commands he gives? Well, let me fucking tell you something, you little jackass. Don't you fucking dare!
he does go all drill sergeant on him.
Yeah, he does not take any of this guy's shit. Like, yeah, sucks that I'm losing a ship, but you know what? I'm still working. In this economy, you think I'm going to go somewhere else?
My job sent out surveys. It's like, do you plan on looking for a new job anytime soon? Was like one of the things, like strongly agree, strongly disagree. And I said like strongly disagree. And then they were like, they wanted a comment on like why you plan on staying. And I was like, I literally said, in this economy. I work for a, let's just say, pretty secure sector of the economy.
Lockheed Martin, yeah.
Not that secure. I do have some standards. Not many.
How do you think we got the Springhawk?
The Spring Lock? No, that's a Five Nights at Freddy's thing. God damn it. All right, continue.
First things first, we emerge into the Potatis?
Yeah, that sounds right. That's how it's spelled.
They have a swarming mentality, and Thrawn's like, I have a way to win this battle. We're gonna break off and make it look like we're injured. They'll focus all their fire on us, and then Aralani will clean up all the fight, and then pew pew, the day is saved. And then the politicians are like, that motherfucking Thrawn, he disobeyed a direct order to not get blown up, that piece of shit.
Yeah, and then Arlani's like, I didn't give him like a direct order. Like it was a soft order. Like it was a one of those like, you know what I mean, kind of orders. Like,
yeah, like, hey, he had a standing order to just like do whatever. You know, I was like, hey, get back in formation. He was like, yeah, I'm getting to it. But like first he had to do something else first, and so like shut up. How about that? How about shut up?
I do like how on one hand we just described a situation where one guy was like, this is the military, we follow orders, you were given an order, you're going to shut up and do your order. And then the guy they're doing that for is like, I was given an order, but trust me, you're going to like this better. Just trust me. And he does his own thing, but it works out, so it's okay.
Yes, they actually say that later in the book. They're like, Thrawn's over here, just he's fucking everything up, but then he turns around and he makes everything better, and so we just forget about the fuck up.
I would love for him to explain to Princess Leia how he's going to make it better. I'm looking forward to that one. I like Thrawn. I want him to be a good guy. It's just unfortunately the movies exist. It kind of makes it
Hey, he
impossible.
didn't order that
I
entire
guess that's
planet
why
be
they
blown
have to
up.
make him not there at all. Versus in
Yeah,
the books where
yeah,
he was like actually part of the military, just stationed somewhere else. If he's not there for any of it, then I guess he couldn't have done anything about it. But he really wanted to.
yeah.
Also,
My hands were tied. Grand Moff Tarkin.
yeah,
he
he came back as a Force ghost.
came back as a real ghost
Yeah.
too.
Uh,
God.
yeah, no. I was gonna say, did you notice it wasn't in this scene, but it was in another scene that I don't know if it's gonna make it into your summary because it's really minor. But there's a scene where he's doing his art analysis of species, and he's the species likes to fly vertical instead of horizontal or something, and he manipulates their tactics in a way.
I like to fly horizontal. You know what I mean?
I don't, and they fly vertical, and it would be better for them to fly horizontal.
Yeah.
He tricks them somehow, and then after a little bit they adjust their tactics, but then he introduces a new variable and they revert back to their old tactics, and
Oh
it gets
yeah.
them killed. And he answers Timothy Zahn. I'm sure I'm not the only one who brought this up. I'm sure this is something Timothy Zahn has been thinking about or being criticized for a long time, that he finally decided to address. Is why is every other species in the galaxy limited by their biological programming?
Because the Chiss are inherently superior, Ben. I don't know how much more I can tell you
But
this.
Timothy Zahn corrects that. It's not that they're inherently limited. What Thrawn's doing is noticing their comfortable patterns. And yes, of course, they can adjust their tactics. They're fully sentient beings. Shut up, Ben. But when you are stressed or when you are thrown unknown variables, you subconsciously revert back to what is comfortable for yourself.
Yeah, he uses this to beat Arlani in a wrestling match.
Yeah. A sexy
Yeah.
wrestling match.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they went on a date, they came back, they spent some time in her room looking at art, wink wink, and
Yeah.
then they just beat the shit out of each other with sticks,
Yeah.
which
That
seems
sounds
like
like
what
sex to
both of
me.
them were into.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like I think this is a Chad Dingleton thing. I want to call you weird, but
Definitely one of them was hitting the other with the stick, if you know what I mean.
hitting them? Okay.
I'm gonna press the attack, is what Thrawn was
Gonna
thinking.
press the attack. Slip past your defenses.
I saw your body heat raise just a little bit.
Oh, look, there's an opening.
was-
Content
oh.
warning.
You can put that at the end, and that way they can listen to the whole episode. And then if they're not here for Thrawn's sexy adventures, there you go.
I don't know. I mean, if they're not here for that, I don't know why they're here.
So in the past, Thrawn is doing a test, and he makes a shuttle disappear, and they're gonna expel him for cheating. But then he shows how he made it disappear with a series of complex maneuvers in a real shuttle. And they're like, by God, he fucking did it. And no one is like, award that man the Medal of Honor and get him out in the field right now.
He's a maverick. He doesn't play by the book.
He is going to lead us to ruin.
Kind of. Like, I'm still like.
he didn't know about Space Hitler's atrocities, and he feels really bad about them then.
Did he not look at his art?
Uh,
Did he not look at the painting the Emperor made of him like burning children?
Yeah, the raid of the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is just slaughtering kids.
I'm
It's like,
I'm picturing the Emperor's
some
got to
strange
have
art.
some like Hieronymus Vosh style art of the Jedi Temple.
What? Hmm. What? What does this art say about me, Mithra Naruto? Oh God. Oh Jesus.
It says you're going to come back somehow.
You're gonna come back somehow.
You're going to be thrown into a nuclear reactor.
You're going to explode and be atomized.
But then
but
half of that ship's going to somehow also magically return.
and then there's going to be a dagger, and you open up the dagger, and it outlines that ship on the planet, and that will lead your granddaughter and Han Solo's son.
Who is Vader's granddaughter.
Yeah,
Grandson.
Vader's
Grandson.
Vader's grandchild and your grandchild are gonna kiss. That's what your art says about you.
All according to plan.
What a fucking dumb movie.
It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you make George Lucas's prequels look
when
good.
people start debating like, well, the prequels weren't that bad, right? And it's like, no, they were, but I think George Lucas at least had some sort of artistic vision, even if he's just not good at it.
Well, it's like movies exist on a spectrum from good to bad, but bad used to be closer to good. And then that came out and bad got further away. And now the prequels are closer to good.
It's graded on a curve, you see.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't review movies, though. Thank God. Except those times where I do sometimes.
Yeah. We'll get to Lord of the Rings eventually. So
it's just going to be a lot of me going like, this is different in the book. Did you know he really broke his toe?
What?
Are you joking?
Who?
Are you serious?
Who broke their toe?
Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, I know that they really threw a dagger at his face, and he had
that's
to.
One. But in the Two Towers, when he finds he thinks the hobbits are dead, the Merry and Pippin are dead. He kicks a helmet and he screams, and he drops to his knees, and that was him staying very professional because he kicked a real helmet with a leather boot and really broke his toe. And so that scream is kind of real.
Jesus Christ.
He also chipped his tooth. They beat the shit out of Viggo Mortensen on that movie.
Yeah, and they almost fucking murdered him by throwing a dagger at his fucking head.
He probably would have lived. He just wouldn't have lived as pretty.
Anyway, where are we at? We've got the aristocra being like,
I don't even think Thrawn's out of grad school yet. But
then we're back at present day, and we've got Cheery, who is their navigator, using third sight. She gets us into a star system with 4 stars, man. That's super difficult. She's going to get a headache.
You've heard of the 3-body problem? This is the 4-body problem. It's a whole body harder.
Yeah, it is.
And like I know that might not sound like a lot, but it gets exponentially harder with each body. So
Thrawn : a whole body harder is going to be the name.
Yes. I love that.
So they're investigating the origins of a refugee ship. Now, it was found drifting near the borders of the Ascendency. What does that have to do with the 3 ships that attacked? Like, I know what it has to do later once they find the connection, but do they know that the 2 are related right now?
So my understanding is when the homeworld was attacked, it was attacked so that they would withdraw their patrols.
Yes.
The patrols would have found this ship. And that is what they did not want. They did not
Yes.
want the Chiss to know that there were refugees fleeing this way because that might cause the Chiss to look outside of their star system and realize that they are being surrounded.
Yes. Do they just have one star system? I assume they had multiple
I think
star
they have
systems.
multiple. They have a like a sector or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then they found this refugee ship and they're like, "What's all this then?" And everyone on board is dead except there's no navigator, Ben. Why was there no navigator? That's weird. And also I think all the bridge data has been deleted. That's weird. Shouldn't have been deleted. So Thrawn is like, let me put all the pieces together. Yes, the navigator lured them into a trap, and also he deleted all their data, and I don't know, told them to go fuck themselves, and then they all died of asphyxiation. But there's another ship that was brutally and ruthlessly slaughtered. But why?
Also, I wouldn't be the Dune guy if I didn't point out that there's a guild of space navigators that navigate using the prescient visions given to them by the Force.
Yeah, totally different. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no spice. Did you hear them talk about doing spice? I
I
didn't.
have heard them talk about spice in Star Wars. Yeah.
Well, not here, Ben. So it doesn't count.
Maybe those. Okay, okay. Content warning. Bear with me.
God damn it.
But maybe those children they force into military service would be able to maintain their powers a little longer if they also fed them a bunch of drugs.
Okay. I don't see why that needed a content warning.
Oh,
Man.
I think it just makes it worse. I think it's closer to real trafficking now. Like you get them
Yeah, but
addicted to
it's not
something and then they
trafficking if
can't
it's not
leave.
trafficking if the state does it. Because we make all the laws.
Well, it might be called something else, but
It's called honored military service, Ben.
is that what MK Ultra was?
Yeah. MK Ultra stands for
Go on.
Mortal Kombat.
Wow, you really,
I
you really had
don't know what the M or the
there.
K. Yeah, no, I ran out as soon as I started to try. So Thrawn, he gets on board these ships, and he manages to just look at them, look at all these aliens and their clothes and their jewelry, and this is the closest he's going to get to art. But he's like, yes, they protect their females or whatever. This will be very helpful.
Does someone not? I guess I'm just going to throw this out there because they're all like basically humanoid species. But are there a lot of species where that's not the case? Enough that it's worth commenting on.
Look, when you are part of one of the inferior non-Chiss races, Ben, you can't assume that they have any real values,
So
or family units, or that they will protect their females instead of putting them in front of the bullets to block them.
no, I did laugh at that one a little bit because I was like, oh, that they would protect their women. And I guess you are sitting there with a girl slave navigating your ship, so maybe you don't. But I was like, wow, is that such an uncommon thing? Like, is I don't know, chivalry such an uncommon thing that it's dead in the chaos sector?
Yeah, it's called the chaos, Ben.
It's called the chaos.
For a reason.
Andrew Tate rules with an iron fist.
So, yeah, the navigators were working for the bad guys, who I assumed were the Grisk, and boy was I surprised when some completely other species shows up here. But all right, now we're like they're trying to, okay, this is like called Rapak, right? And there's an asteroid station that's been abandoned, and Thrawn wants to get on board so he can gather data and maybe also see if there's any art. Hell yeah. So he looks at their patrol patterns. He figures out when he can slip through. He uses Aralani's ship They do some maneuver where she like draws the patrol away, and Thrawn's shuttle manages to get in. They get on board the asteroid station, but oh my god, they're coming for the station. So Thrawn decides to turn on the lights and invite them in. And that's when he places himself. First, it was going to be in front of God. What's her name? Theala?
Thalia or Theala? Theala.
Yeah. Okay. He puts himself in front of her, but then he hears.
Yeah.
He senses the air shift, and so he moves behind her. And they're like, "Oh, are you hiding behind your woman?" And he's like, "No, I'm protecting her from getting shot in the back." Oh,
I too am alpha as fuck.
Yeah.
They really respect that sort of thing here.
So they come up with a thing where like these aliens hate the Nicardoon, Ben.
Yeah, it's a bad name.
we hate these guys, but if we don't do exactly what they say, they will fucking annihilate our planet. So we do exactly what we're ordered to do. And it's like, oh. So, yeah, and it's like, okay. I was like, is that the name of the Grisk in this sector? No, they're different species, Ben. They're an entirely different species. These are not the Grisk at all. So that's weird, that there's two species that are just the Grisk. So they let him go because they're like, well, we don't need to capture you. We don't have any orders to capture you, and we can just pretend you weren't here. We're going to get that data, but there is no data on your ship that flew by here. So, okay, bye. Now you know who the enemy is. So they are under the thumb of Yiv the Benevolent. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a real tough guy who's definitely going to be around for a while.
Yeah. He's a real alpha.
He kind of went in the opposite direction of the Darths. Vader and Sidious and Maul.
Tyrannus.
And now he's Yiv the Benevolent. I guess in a galaxy of Darth Tyranni, the Yivs Benevolent are somewhat threatening just because they don't feel the need to threaten.
Yeah. Darth Benevolence. That's the guy I would follow.
It sounds like a pope.
It does, doesn't it?
Should just start calling him that. What's the new one? He's from Chicago.
Is he really from Chicago?
Yeah, we could get a hoagie with him.
Fuck yeah.
But on that happy note, with our enemy identified, we're going to have to split this into a two-parter. That's right. 2 more episodes of Thrawn. We're going to bring the total up to 17. It's going to be awesome. Stick around for part 2. And I would like to thank real quickly our Yacht Plan tier patrons. Of course, we have Spooky Shy with the Y over on TikTok, Isekai Sensei Sama of the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast, John Bierce, actual author of The Mage Errant, The Rack, and The City That Would Eat the World of More Gods Than Stars. We also have Jamie, the Gravy Man of the If You Want the Gravy blog. Check it out. He also has a play being staged. Very proud of him. Keegan did not give me a project, so I'll simply say, hello, Keegan. And I believe that is everyone. So, stay tuned next time where we find out how Thrawn will defeat the evil and also yet benevolent, maybe, Yiv. And I'm sure it'll have something to do with his art.